Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another episode of Pan TheOrganizer. So today this is Q&A number 5, where I answer your car detailing questions. So questions that are often asked by you guys, my viewers, and regardless if you're a weekend warrior or a car detailing professional, you can either learn some new things or brush up on your car detailing knowledge. So let's dig right into it. Before I go ahead with question number 1, I just want to remind you, if I talk about anything specific as far as detailing products, equipment, and tools and all that stuff, I'll leave links in the description for you guys to check those out. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So question number 1, a ceramic coating or a graphene coating, what is better? Is there such a thing as the better technology? First of all, ceramic coatings have been around now for a while. We all know, right? They're not snake oil, as some were thinking many years ago when they were first introduced in the car detailing scene. And they're, in my opinion, the best form of paint protection because it's basically a semi-permanent form of protection that will add all the gloss, the slickness, the water beading, the water sheeting, the crazy chemical resistance, the durability in terms of years compared to a few months for regular waxes, for example, UV protection, so on and so forth. And of course, the self-cleaning properties, meaning the vehicle is a lot easier to clean during your maintenance washes. Now, in the last 2 years especially, there's been, let's say, an evolution in the car detailing world for protection, and that is the graphene coating technology. Now, let's be clear, what we've learned in these past 2 or 3 years since the first products started to be available to the public, they're essentially made out of ceramic coatings. So the basis of a graphene coating is still a ceramic coating, which is infused with RGO, or reduced graphene oxide, in it. So it's not necessarily pure graphene, at least not yet. Not in any pure coating that I've seen in a glass bottle or glass vial yet. So again, reduced graphene oxide, so a modification of pure graphene. And well, in theory, what they promise with graphene coatings is a reduction in water spotting, which was one of the Achilles heels, let's say, for regular ceramic coatings, because they're more prone to getting water spots or having water spotting issues because of the hydrophobic nature of the protection. So graphene is supposed to help alleviate that a bit or reduce the amount of water spots in many ways. We're not going to dig into that in this video, but through either a reduction in surface temperature or an increase in the water sheeting rate, so that way there's less water on the surface, and through aggressive water contact angles, so on and so forth. So basically what they are promising is to help reduce the amount of water spots. Now, in reality, does that translate in real life? Yes, with some of them you do see a reduction in water spots. However, is that due to the ceramic technology as well? Because there are now ceramic coatings that are also good at combating water spots. Why? Because the majority of the coating brands have also released toppers. So basically a compatible topper or a top coat that you apply on top of the ceramic coating. And that's to give a hyper slick or super slick nature to the coating itself. And again, you're reducing the chances of getting any water spots. But regardless, again, both for me are very, very good. It's more about which brand you believe in, more than the graphene versus ceramic coating debate. So you can get fantastic products that will last many, many years in both camps. So what I would recommend is stick to a brand that you like, test products and use the ones that you prefer. Don't focus too much on, is ceramic better than graphene or is graphene better than ceramic? Honestly, in both camps, you have fantastic results. My top picks, by the way, in my 2022 Car Detailing Products Awards video, where I select my top 3 picks in each product category. So if you haven't seen that, it's super popular. It's been 6 years now since that award show is going on. So go check that out maybe after this video. So yeah, again, for me, there's no real huge difference. It's more about pick the product that you like, enjoy it, and use it. So question number 2, what is better? A snow foam for the pre-wash stage or an all-purpose cleaner, or APC, for the pre-wash stage? So a lot of people, they're curious about which pre-wash is the best. There is, again, no such thing. It really depends on what your goal or intention is. So for me, if you're doing a regular weekly maintenance wash, the snow foam definitely for me is the way to go. So you're helping to encapsulate or to lift a bit of that loose dirt and debris and to rinse it off, always in an effort to minimize the chances of scratching or swirling the finish when you're doing the contact wash afterwards. The APC pre-rinse or pre-treat or pre-wash also has its place in the detailing world. However, for me, I think it's more professionals that will use that, especially before you prep a vehicle for future protection. So the all-purpose cleaner, because they are more alkaline or higher pH in nature, they have bigger degreasing capabilities, and they can help remove a bit of bug guts. They can help to start to break down as well older paint protection like regular wax or regular sealant, for example. You can use a stripping shampoo for that as well, but more on that in the video. But yeah, so for me, APC is more if you're prepping before you're applying protection. So if you plan on applying a fresh coat of wax or a sealant, or especially if you want to apply a ceramic coating, you're going to want to do a few pre-wash steps that have some more powerful cleaners, and then of course follow that up with chemical decontamination, mechanical decontamination, then machine polishing, so on and so forth, the IPA wipe before you apply the coating from that glass bottle, right? So that would be the major difference. So if you're basically doing regular washes, I would stick to a snow foam. And if you're doing something where you're applying a new protection, well then the APC pre-treat is another fantastic one. And by the way, if you guys have any experience or any additional thoughts to add to any response that I give, drop a comment in the comment section. It's always nice that we get to discuss these things and of course share many people's opinions on each topic. So question number 3, what's the difference between a consumer grade coating and a professional grade coating? We often hear that, right? Consumer grade ceramic coating, a professional grade or pro grade coating. Basically, consumer grade means that you can purchase it online. You don't have to be a certified installer for that coating, or you don't have to be a professional detailer. So typically, they're less expensive. They won't last as long as professional grade coating, and they definitely are much easier to apply because they're made for the DIY application. So for enthusiasts, for weekend warriors. Now that doesn't mean that they're not good though, because there are a lot of DIY coatings out there that are consumer grade that will last many, many years and give you the fantastic effects that you're expecting. Now, when we're looking at professional grade coatings, now all of them are usually only available to professional detailers, and even more so, I would say, to professional detailers that are accredited or certified for that specific brand. So if I look at, for example, there are many brands who offer both, right? The consumer version and the professional grade version. So CarPro, one of my favorite ceramic coating brands out there, they have the regular consumer line coating, which is called the Sequartz UK 3.0. And then if you look on the pro grade side, they're going to have the Sequartz Professional and the Sequartz Finest Reserve. So with those, you can use infrared curing lamps to speed up the curing process. Some other brands, they absolutely require IR lamps or the infrared lamps for curing, so you need more specialized equipment. Also, you have to go through a very thorough training or an approval from the brand to make sure you have the skills, the knowledge, the tools, and the appropriate techniques for applying the coating, so that way you can live up to the warranty that comes with those specific coatings. Now, also a professional grade coating typically is a bit more finicky to install, or at least you need to be in more compliant conditions. For example, a controlled environment, right? Perfect temperatures around that 68 degrees or 70 degrees Fahrenheit, which is basically 20 degrees to 21 degrees Celsius. You want to have a 40 to 45% humidity range, that kind of thing. Basically, again, a controlled environment, like in my garage right here. And you have to be certified by the brand. That way you make sure that you respect the quality that brand is looking for in their installers. So if you have, let's say you're a bit more scared to do it on your own, or you just want something that will come with that warranty and that peace of mind, well, go see a professional installer for the coating brand that you're looking into. And if you have a bit of detailing experience, or you watch the Pan TheOrganizer tutorials, know that you'll have all the knowledge and confidence to go ahead and do a ceramic coating or a graphene coating application yourself. And it's super fun. And once there are steps, right? You can start with spray versions of coatings and then move up to the glass bottle variants and have those multi-year semi-permanent forms of paint protection that you apply on your own. So regardless, if you pick a consumer grade or if you pick a professional detailer for the professional grade coating, there's something for everyone's budget, for everyone's need out there. And yeah, that's basically it. So question number 4. A product claims 5 years of protection, for example, a ceramic coating. However, I only got 4 years of durability. Why is that? So there are many reasons and variables that you guys have to take into consideration when looking at durability claims. First of all, when brands come out with durability claims, those are done in specific controlled environments, in lab environments, and what they represent is basically in optimal conditions, what is the maximum durability that you're going to get out of there. But for ceramic coatings and graphene coatings, typically there's what we call an actual real-world durability for a coating, and it's usually anywhere from 60 to 70% of that claim for many reasons. First of all, when you freshly apply a coating after the first year or two, well, the performance is naturally going to start to diminish over time because, well, they are semi-permanent forms of paint protection and not totally permanent, right? That's why they last a few years and not a lifetime. Also, they need a lot of maintenance. So every 2 to 3 months, you have to make sure to apply a compatible topper, whether it's an SiO2 or a graphene topper. So you maintain the protection, you maintain that durability, you maintain the performance as well. So there is some maintenance. Yes, it's a lot easier to maintain compared to traditional waxes or sealants, but you still have to put a little bit of elbow grease to make sure you're keeping that peak performance. And also it depends the durability on the conditions that you live in. For example, if the coating is applied on a vehicle that is garage kept and only driven on weekends in a weather like they have in California, for example, well, there's a much higher chance for that coating to reach the maximum durability claim compared to a vehicle which is daily driven, which sleeps or stays outside 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and will go through harsh Canadian winters like we have here in Montreal. Well, obviously, you're not going to have that same chance to reach that maximum durability claim like that vehicle would have in, for example, California. So weather and conditions, once again, has a lot to do with it. The mileage also. So if you, roll with your vehicle for an average of, 30,000 miles a year versus another one that only drives for 5,000 or 6,000 miles, well, guess what? The one that's exposed more to the elements and more to the road, well, will have less chances of reaching that maximum durability claim. So I tend to like some chemists' thoughts on that, where they say that the durability claim should be taken more with, let's say, the optics of making it appear as if it's an indicator, right? So if you have a 4-year coating and you have a 9-year coating, well, you're expecting that 9-year coating to last a lot longer than the 4-year, but that doesn't mean you're going to get a full 9 years of protection, again, because of all the variables. So there's not only the weather, the condition that your vehicle is in, but the type of maintenance that you're doing, the level of experience you had when you applied it, the conditions when you applied it as well. Did you follow the instructions, so on and so forth. So yeah, just that little mental note. Keep in mind that it is very rare, and that's not only for coatings, right? For waxes and sealants, it's the same thing. If you do testing for durability, for example, here in Montreal, you likely are going to have very different results from somebody living in a warmer or gentler climate, or perhaps somebody living in an even harsher environment. So it's up to you to do your testing, pick the product that works best for you in your conditions, in your reality. So question number 5, are stripping shampoos enough before I apply another form of paint protection? The answer is yes and no, and again, it depends what type of protection you want to apply. So if your idea is to reapply just a regular wax or a paint sealant, you want to start fresh, yes, a stripping shampoo could be enough. They're typically higher in pH, right? So they're more alkaline, and what they do, they have a lot of degreasing agents that are a bit harsher compared to a pH neutral shampoo, and their purpose is to strip away or remove, in theory, older waxes and paint sealants. Now, if the wax or sealant was freshly applied like just a week ago, the stripping shampoo alone won't be enough. If it's been there for 1 or 2 months, then the stripping shampoo might be able to fully remove that. But you're going to notice a visual indicator. If you still see water beading and quick sheeting when you're done using the stripping shampoo, there's a high chance that the protection is still on there, so it's not enough. If you see a very slow sheeting and a flat sheet of water, then you have a visual indicator that you removed the previous protection. Now, a stripping shampoo, if you plan on applying a ceramic coating or a graphene coating, the ones in those glass bottles, once again, might not be enough. So it's going to start the breaking down process, that stripping shampoo, of your older protection, but might not be enough, once again, to fully remove it. So visually look at your the water behavior or the hydrophobic properties when you're done using the stripping shampoo. And most likely, if you want to make sure to ensure 100% removal of a previous paint protection, mechanical abrasion through machine polishing is the only way that you'll ensure 100% removal. So keep that in mind, guys. That's why for coatings, we always start with the decon wash. We move on to iron removers and tar removers, so the chemical decontamination, and then follow that by the clay stage. So either a clay bar, clay mitt, or clay towel with a clay lubricant. So that's the mechanical decontamination. We're going to move on to machine polishing to not only correct the defects like swirls, scratches, oxidation, improve gloss, clarity, and of course the richness of the paint finish, but also that mechanical abrasion, once again, is going to ensure 100% removal of any previous protection that was on there. Then you do the isopropyl alcohol mix or the paint prep spray to remove those polishing oils, ensure you have a squeaky, clean, clear coat, and that way your coating can properly bond to a virgin, well-prepped clear coat, and that's how you're going to get the maximum performance and durability out of your coating. So question number 6, I am about a year into a coating and I want to reapply a fresh layer. What are the steps? So again, that depends on many factors. First of all, is your coating still in good condition? Meaning, are you seeing still water beading, water sheeting, and all the properties that your coating had? If so, it's actually quite simple. So you're going to wash the vehicle, ideally with a decon shampoo. You're going to use an iron remover to make sure you remove any embedded iron particles, and then you're going to dry the vehicle. You're going to use an IPA, isopropyl alcohol mix, or a paint prep spray like CarPro, CarPro Eraser, Geon Prep. There's a bunch of companies, basically a G-Technic panel wipe. Every coating brand has their own IPA solution. So you're going to spray that on, again, to make sure there's no smudges, no grease particles, or nothing that could impede the bonding of your fresh coat. And then you reapply a fresh layer of the coating that you love that's already on your vehicle. And that's pretty much it. Follow the appropriate curing time and you're good to go. However, if after that year, you notice that there's maybe a panel like the hood or one of the doors or something that's doesn't have the regular hydrophobic properties that you're expecting, so perhaps no water beading left or very slow sheeting, there's a bit more that you'll need to do. So you're going to go through the decon wash, the chemical decontamination. Ideally, perhaps you're going to clay that surface if there's any leftover residual contamination. And then you ideally probably are at least going to do a light polish on that panel to make sure you get a uniform removal of whatever was there previously. Do the IPA spray, and then you reapply the coating. So basically you're restarting all the steps if you see a bit of failure, but only on the panel that, well, isn't doing right. And for the rest of the vehicle, well, you can skip the machine polishing and just reapply the coating at the end, just like we talked about earlier in this part of the question. So question number 7, what is better, water sheeting or water beading? A common question that I get asked all the time. Well, it mainly depends on what your preference is. A lot of people like water beading because of the appearance, right? It's a visual indicator that you still have some protection on your paintwork because you're getting those tight, nice round water beads. Some people, however, the negative aspect of that is that if you leave, you have hard water issues where you live and those water beads sit in the baking sun, well, it evaporates that water. It's going to leave all the minerals behind, and those can technically etch through the clear coat if they're not attended regularly or if you don't wash your car often. So what people tend to prefer, the ones who have hard water issues or the ones who live, for example, there's sprinklers in their irrigation system or anything else that just starts and throws water all over the place and the car sits in the baking sun, they tend to prefer something that has more sheeting capability. So meaning the water pools up but quickly sheets off the panel. So that accelerates the drying time because there's less water pooling on the vehicle and you're having less chances of water beading. However, because of the hydrophobic properties of paint protection in general, you're probably going to get both aspects. So there isn't a product that will only do perfect water sheeting and zero beading. If you hit it correctly with a pressure washer, even a product that is meant to sheet water, you're still going to get water droplets. Why is that? Well, again, because of the hydrophobic properties. You're laying down a protection that has a hard molecular surface modification, if you want. So this hard shell of protection, it's creating an extreme water contact angle, right? So that means that you're going to get a nice, perfect round bead. So depending, again, if you're hitting it with a strong pressure washer, you're going to get beading even out of sheeting products. Now, the way to avoid that is to have a garden hose to turn it on to a regular stream, so a slower stream, and you're putting that stream of water and letting it flow on the surface, and you can basically dry your vehicle with that slow water coming out of your garden hose in a sheet that's going to sheet off the panel. So there are a few products out there that have more water sheeting capabilities. For example, there was the Malco CR2, one of their silica spray sealants that I had tested that was more of a sheeting type product. And more recently, the Apex Rehydra Sheet paint sealant. So that one is more of a sheeter. Again, no worries. I'll leave the links to those in the description. But those have more sheeting properties. But the majority of the products out there, because consumers want actual water beading products, will bead water more than they sheet it. But water beading products also have a good thing. They bead the water, so there's a lot of surface tension, good water contact angles, and so the water is quicker to flee off, especially if you use a car dryer. So it makes drying the car very, very quick when you have that water beading because you're blow drying it off and it just shoots off, and in a matter of minutes, your car is dry in a contactless way. So water beading can be good as well. So it's up to you to choose which environment you're in, what you prefer. I don't think there's something really better, but I know some people like the sheeting aspect because they are scared of water spots. I use deionized water and I wash my car in a garage, so I don't really mind of the water beads. I actually do like water beading a lot, but again, it's a question of personal preference. Just use safe washing and drying methods and you should be fine. Question number 8, I have hard water spots on my paint. What do I do? Another common question. So again, the water spots, where do they come from? The water, when it evaporates, it leaves behind minerals, and those minerals have a tendency to etch through the clear coat and leave permanent stains or rings, especially when they're left in the baking sun. Now, one way to prevent that is to have a deionizer or a water deionizer system like I have in my garage. I have a full video on that, by the way. So basically a resin that removes all the minerals, and you're left with a zero mineral content or TDS inside your water. So that way, even if you let the vehicle dry on its own and air dry, there's going to be no water spots left behind because there's no minerals in the water. Not everybody, however, has a water deionizer. So you should wash in conditions that are not exposed directly into sunlight. Work in the shade on a cool surface and dry your car off quickly, and use a drying aid at the end, like a quick detail spray, for example. It not only lubricates the surface and acts as a buffer between your microfiber drying towel and the paintwork itself, boosts gloss and slickness, but is also going to help remove the leftover minerals, so that way you don't get any water spotting. If you do, however, some water spots, and this is assuming that they haven't etched fully through the clear coat, there are ways to remove them. So the most gentle way is to first use a water spot remover. So those technically have an acidic pH, and they're going to try and eat through the minerals and remove them. So you spray on the surface, you're going to let that dwell a bit. Some require an agitation with a light microfiber towel, or some just fully rinse off. Regardless, when you're done with your either mineral deposit remover or your water spot remover, fully rinse the vehicle. Some also like to wash the vehicle once again afterwards to make sure they neutralize those cleaners, and that should take care of the lighter etching. You can also use a mix of 50% white vinegar and 50% distilled water or demineralized water, and that way that can help combat a bit of the water spots. And always read the instructions, by the way, of the products that you're using. But if you have anything that's deeper than that, so you tried that method and you still have water spots on your paint, so the next step up from there is going to be machine polishing. Now, if you have a ceramic coating, unfortunately, that's probably going to mean that you're going to have to reapply the coating because, well, those are abrasives and you're going to be damaging that top coat. And so be very careful if you have to go that route. And eventually, if the water spots are so severe and so etched through because they've been in the baking sun for weeks or months on end and haven't been attended to, you might need to do some water sanding in some cases. And in other cases, it just etched through so much that even that won't take care of it. And a full panel respray is going to be the only way to correct that. So there are steps that you can do, right? You start with the chemical decontamination, you go with the mechanical removal of the chemical water spot removal, then you move on to the mechanical removal with the machine polishing, perhaps some water sanding, and well, ultimately in the end, maybe it's only a respray that'll be possible. But again, the best way to prevent that is regular washing, and don't expose your vehicle to the extreme sun when you're washing your car, and you'll thank me later. So question number 9, I have scratches and swirls on my ceramic coating. What do I do? So you'll usually regularly hear that machine polishing coatings is a big no-no, and I fully understand that and support that theory as well. Why? Because polishes and compounds are abrasives by nature. How do you remove a coating? The only way to remove a ceramic coating is through machine polishing. Now, there is a slight little note or footnote to that. You can polish to remove light defects if you know what you're doing and if you're using the correct products. So one of the rare polishes that is actually made to correct minor swirls or scratches on a ceramic or graphene coated vehicle is CarPro Essence Plus. Not the regular Essence that's made as a primer or polish before you apply the coating, but the Essence Plus is the polish that you're going to use to jewel the surface after the coating was applied to remove any apparent visual light scratches or swirls. But we're talking hairline stuff here, very minor defects that's going to help to correct. The Essence Plus doesn't have any actual abrasives in there, but more chemical agents that help to flatten and fill those surfaces with semi-permanent fillers that are inside there and boost a little bit of that protection as well when you're done. But you're not basically removing anything of the coating. You're just kind of hiding and correcting light imperfection without any abrasives. So CarPro Essence Plus is the way to go. But anything deeper, if you have a key job, if you have major swirls and scratches, you're gonna have to machine polish and reapply the coating. So be very careful when you do that. And again, one of the ways to prevent scratches and swirls, when everybody asks me, how do I do that, is through proper washing and drying methods. The majority of the love marks that we call, or light scratches or swirls that happen on a vehicle come from the hand washing stage and the hand drying stage when you're using a towel. So one way to alleviate that, make sure you follow a proper tutorial on how to wash your car. I have one on my channel, of course. And so yeah, use good soaps with lubrication, quality microfiber wash mitts, use a 2-bucket wash method, or if you're using the 1-bucket wash method, change wash media often, so many mitts or many microfiber towels. And again, that's going to help reduce the chances of scratches or swirling. In the drying stage, use a drying aid to act as a lubricant with a proper microfiber drying towel. No, none of those synthetic old school chamois that's done. Use something that's soft, or even better than a towel, use a car dryer. So that's a 100% contactless drying method. So then there will be 0 chances of scratching or swirling your paint. So appropriate car washing and drying methods, and that way you shouldn't have to polish your ceramic coating for years to come. On my own vehicle, my own Porsche, I had the ceramic coating applied about 1.5 years ago, and there's still no scratches, no swirls, because I used the proper methods to take care of it. So question number 10, are snow foams just for show? So we all have seen that, right? And me, myself included, in the pre-wash stage, we love to use a foam cannon with a snow foam. You're blanketing the entire vehicle with a layer of snow foam, and that's always in an intention to minimize the amount of scratches and swirls during the wash stage, because the pre-wash stage with the snow foam is supposed to help lift and encapsulate any loose dirt and debris so you can rinse that off the vehicle before you do the contact wash. So there are some snow foams. Well, first of all, the answer is yes, they do work, and it's not just for show. But there are 2 categories of snow foams. So there's going to be the ones that are pH neutral. So those are for your weekly washes, right? I wash my car twice weekly. So all that's needed is a gentle pH neutral snow foam that you're going to put in the foam cannon. And what that one does, you're blanketing your vehicle. It's going to, of course, help to lift a bit of that loose dirt and debris, and you can gently rinse that off, and you can reapply the snow foam before the contact wash. And that way you're having an extra layer of lubrication. Lubrication is key. That's what prevents marring on the surface. So the pH neutral shampoo or snow foam, if used correctly, will help lubricate the surface before you're hand washing. The second category of snow foams are the ones that have a higher alkaline level, so the higher pH, or some are acidic, like CarPro D-Scale, with a lower pH or a more acidic pH. And those are specialized snow foams because they actually do some cleaning, right? They have cleaning capabilities. If I look at a Built Hamber Touchless or Built Hamber Auto Foam, I had a video on my channel showing that cleaning power, or something like CarPro Lift, for example. They have a pH ranging from 11 to 12 on average. So those are actually going to start to help to break down the grease, the grime, and the traffic film that is on the paintwork. And once they're done the dwell time, you rinse them off, and you're going to see the panel is noticeably cleaner, way cleaner compared to if you're only using water to pre-rinse the vehicle. So that is very key. Also, a snow foam like CarPro D-Scale, for example, can help to remove water spots. So due to its acidic nature, it's going to break down those minerals and help to rinse them off. So there are ones that have more cleaning capabilities. Again, go check out my video. It was pretty cool comparing the cleaning snow foams to the pH neutral snow foams to just some regular water as control. But definitely, if used correctly, they definitely do something. So snow foams, they're no snake oil. They actually work. Okay, question 11. I see some residue when I'm using an all-purpose cleaner in the interior of my vehicle, or for example, if I'm using a carpet and upholstery cleaner. Why is that? So some report that they see some browning or the dirt that they thought they had cleaned comes back. Why is that? It's very important when you're using an APC or a carpet and upholstery cleaner, know that at the end, the cleaning agents need to be neutralized. So when you're using an all-purpose cleaner, dilute it appropriately for interior use, not full strength, obviously, unless you're having something that's an RTU or ready-to-use formula for the interior. Those are fine. You don't need to neutralize them. But the ones that you're diluting, so the all-purpose cleaners that you're diluting for interior use, something like CarPro Multi-X or whatever Power Clean from Optimum, regardless of what interior APC you're using, you want to make sure to take a damp microfiber towel when you're done, so damp with just a bit of water, and you re-wipe that surface, and you take a second clean and dry towel and you wipe that. That's going to neutralize the residue. That way you're not having any of that browning on the surface and you're not reactivating the dirt. The same applies to the products that you're going to be using on carpet and upholstery. For example, so one of my favorite carpet cleaners is Carpet Bomber from PNS. They also have the Terminator carpet cleaner and upholstery cleaner. So those cleaners, typically, they're going to attack different forms of protein stains, organic stains, just some dirt that you have in the fabric, the floor mats, or the carpeting. And when they're done though, however, if you don't neutralize those cleaners, what happens is that dirt that was there, that is being encapsulated, if you want, by those cleaners, when you're going to come back, say it's raining outside, you put your feet or your coat back on the upholstery that was wet, or your shoes that have a bit of water on them because it's raining outside or you're in snow or whatever, well, that water is going to go down in the fibers and is going to reactivate those cleaners and that dirt to come back on the surface because they're trying to wick that dirt up, and you're reactivating or putting that dirt back into circulation, which you don't want. So the trick is when you're done using a carpet and upholstery cleaner, you neutralize it. For example, PNS has what they call the finisher. So the finisher is in spray form. So you're done using the carpet cleaner, for example, right? You've done all your carpet cleaning, you sprayed it on, you used a brush, microfiber towel to blot it or whatever and whatnot. So the finisher is basically a peroxide, and it neutralizes the cleaners by breaking them down and finishes the cleaning process by breaking down stained materials left in the fabric. So, well, that peroxide that's in the finisher from PNS basically, again, neutralizes everything and make sure you're not reactivating that dirt and you're good to go. If you're using an extractor, that's another way to neutralize the cleaner that you had. So you used your drill brush attachment, for example, and either your APC or carpet and upholstery cleaner, you went to town, it did some nice foaming action, you removed the excess with your microfiber towel, and then to remove whatever is left, you're going to use an extractor with either just water in it or something like the extraction shampoo from PNS. And that, again, is not only going to finish cleaning that surface, but neutralize whatever's left there. It's going to probably dry in a powdery form if you have the extractor shampoo, and then neutralizes everything up, and you can pick whatever's left at the end if you still see some powdery residue with a vacuum, and that's it, you're good to go. So keep in mind, if you're using an APC that you're diluting for interior use, neutralize that with a wet towel with just a bit of water and wipe that dry with another towel. And if you're using some cleaner for upholstery or carpets, neutralize that with an appropriate chemical, the one of your choice, but make sure, you neutralize those cleaners when you're done. So question number 12, I only have some paint protection film, or PPF, on the front clip of my car, meaning maybe the hood, the front bumper, maybe the mirrors, or the front wings. So do I have to apply a PPF specific coating just on those sections and then buy a regular paint coating for the rest of the paint that doesn't have any PPF on it? Like, what do you recommend? Well, it's pretty simple. First of all, you can do that if you want. So use a PPF specific paint coating like CarPro Skin or G-Technic Halo on top of your PPF and then purchase a dedicated paint coating for the rest of the paintwork that has no PPF on it. Or the majority of paint coatings, by the way, can be applied on top of PPF as well. So if I look at G-Technic Crystal Serum Light, CarPro Seaquartz UK 3.0, Avalon King Armor Shield 9 if you're in the consumer grade market, all the Geon Evo lines of coatings like Geon Mose, Geon Synchro, all that kind of stuff, you can still apply them on top of PPF. So if you prefer to buy just one product that does it all, buy the paint coating, apply it on your PPF as well, and you're good to go, unless otherwise specified by the coating manufacturer. So read the label. If it tells you it cannot be applied on top of PPF, well, obviously then look for something else. But the majority of the paint coatings, again, can be applied to PPF as well. So one product does it all, and that way you can coat your entire vehicle with the same coating should you want to. Next, can I apply a wax on top of a ceramic coating? That is always one for debate, but it's actually quite simple. So the answer is yes, in theory. So if you want to apply a wax, there's nothing that prevents you from doing it. However, note that if you're applying a regular carnauba wax on top of a ceramic coating or a graphene coating, what you're doing is you're masking the superior properties of that coating, and now you're taking on the properties of whatever you're putting on top. So typically, hydrophobics are way better with ceramic coatings and graphene coatings, meaning that you're getting way better water beading and way quicker water sheeting with the coatings compared to regular waxes. Also, if you apply a wax on top, not only are you masking the properties of the coating underneath, but also note that those technologies aren't really compatible chemistry-wise, because coatings are meant to reject stuff. They're meant to reject chemicals. So when you're applying a wax on top, it's not going to last that long because the coating eventually is just going to reject it. Hence why you often hear don't apply regular waxes or paint sealants on top of coatings, because there's no benefit in doing that. Now, I understand you guys, you love detailing your cars. So Pan, what do I do for maintenance? You apply a compatible topper on top of your coatings, which means an SiO2 spray or a graphene spray or a detail spray, again, that's compatible with that technology. There's a lot of products now that you can use today that are compatible with pretty much any existing protection. So take something that's compatible, but if you want to remove the guesswork, take something from those coating brands that are made for the maintenance. For example, a CarPro coating, use CarPro Reload spray. A Geon coating, use Geon Cure spray. A Kamikaze coating, use Kamikaze Can Coat. G-Technic coating, use G-Technic C2V3, so on and so forth. Every coating brand has its own topper, and then you ensure chemical compatibility and durability, and all the properties are going to maintain themselves, and that way you're getting the maximum performance out of your coating. So the next question, number 14, why don't tire dressings last that long? That is a good question. So let it be known that there are generally two categories of tire dressings, the water-based ones, which are my preferred type of dressing, and solvent-based ones. It's easy to identify a solvent-based ones because those are the ones that are super greasy, super wet looking, and they have a tendency to more sling on the surface, right? So more on that in just a second. Let's start with the water-based ones. Why do those don't last that long? It's pretty simple. Because they're water-based, they have to add a bit of things in them like silicones to make them last a little longer, because the problem with water-based tire dressings is that when you apply them on the tire and you drive outside, if you hit an inclement weather, especially on rainy days, what happens is that water from the rain and the water-based product that's on your tire, water likes water. So what happens is that water from the rain is kind of attracted to the water-based product and is trying to pull it off your tire because they are attracted to each other, and hence the durability diminishes. You probably noticed this yourself, right? You're applying your favorite dressing, you drive off, it's one rainy day, and boom, the next day the dressing is almost gone. The advantage, however, of a water-based dressing, even if it doesn't last as long, it's not as harmful to the rubber. It's not going to degrade it, harm it in any way. You can reapply just more often in your regular washes, and they don't tend to sling on the tire. Of course, degrease your tire properly before you apply a tire dressing. That's one way you won't make it sling. But yeah, they just don't sling as much, and they won't give you that super watery, glossy, glazed donut kind of look, which personally I don't like, but I know some viewers do. It's a question of personal preference. So they have that more matted or satin appearance, which a lot of people like as well. Now, the other part, the solvent-based dressings, they last a lot longer because the chemistry is different. So even through rainy conditions, you're going to find that they have a tendency to keep that tire looking black for longer. However, the problem with solvents is that they often have a tendency to dry and age the tire a lot quicker, hence why they're usually not recommended by the professional detailers out there, because you're kind of not ruining, but you're, especially if you keep on using them, you're eventually going to wear out your tire or that rubber. You're going to have it crack and age and just become brittle because you're removing all the stuff that's inside there because of that chemistry that's there. So it's a question for you to pick which one you prefer, but that's one reason why the water-based dressings don't last as long, and just apply them more frequently and do the application correctly. So I have a video on how to properly apply a tire dressing and basically how to clean your wheels and tires as well. So go check that out. I have tutorials for everything, almost 800 videos on my channel. You can go down that rabbit hole and increase or level up your detailing game to that next level. So question number 15, I coated my car, but it accidentally rained during the 24 hours of curing, and I couldn't keep my car indoors for that 24 hours. Is the coating dead? What do I do? Okay, first of all, don't panic. If you're within that 24-hour period, of course, ideally, you want to have your vehicle and the coating cure indoors in a garage for the first 24 hours, which is crucial to a coating's lifespan. But I understand that not everybody can do it. Some people just don't have access to a garage and they have to leave the vehicle outside. If you see that it starts to rain, you have to immediately remove the water. So if you remove the water as quickly as possible and you dry the vehicle off, it shouldn't be as bad, or especially if there was just a little morning dew. Sometimes people are worried, right? There was no rain at all, but the next morning there was a little bit of dew on the vehicle and evaporated once the sun got up. That is fine, that's no problem. But if it rained, remove it as quickly as possible. Because the issue is if you leave the water droplets or you let the water sit on the vehicle during that curing time, what happens is the coating itself, because it likes moisture and humidity for curing, it's going to want to move itself from the paintwork and go back into the droplets of water to finish curing. So that water that sits on top of the paintwork is kind of wicking that coating away. So you're removing the coating if you leave the water on there, and hence, well, you either won't have any coating left or there won't be too much coating left on the paintwork for it to cure. So again, ideally work indoors or pick a day when you know that it's not going to rain outside. That is crucial. But if it does rain a little bit, sometimes the weather is unpredictable. Just know that address it quickly though, wipe it down, leave it dry, and if it's dry for the rest or the remainder of that 24 hours, you are good to go. I wouldn't worry too much, especially when you're done applying your ceramic coating. Typically, coating brands also require an hour after an application of a topper, so an SiO2 topper, and that prevents water spotting during the first 2 weeks of curing of the coating. So it's kind of a windbreaker for your coating, or a jacket, right? That's going to help prevent or take the brunt of the elements while the coating underneath is still protected and curing. So then again, if you have a topper that you applied an hour after your final coat of your ceramic coating, that is going to protect the coating a bit against that water as well. So no panic, just wipe it down. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was jam-packed with information. If that's the case, smash the thumbs up button to show me your support. If you have future questions that you want me to answer in a Q&A, drop them in the comment section under the video. Also, I remind you, any products that I spoke about will be linked in the description for you guys to check them out. So thanks for being there. Thanks for watching. And in the meantime, don't forget, keep it tight, keep it clean, and I'll see you on the next one.